Hi everybody, this is my first attempt at making a short triathlon history video. The plan is to tell stories to complement those on my blog and podcast. Sometimes I'm going to be doing a casual triathlon at the venue I'm visiting, but today I'm just on my bike at the Regattastrecke in Oberschleißheim. The facility was built for the rowing and flat water canoeing events at the 1972 Olympic Games, and it's still in use for those sports today. Although the tarmac on the circuit is new, these grandstands very much look like they are stuck in 1972. The Regattastrecke is now also a regular venue for local triathlons. I've done a few. But probably the best field ever assembled here was for a round of the European Golden Cup circuit on the 23rd of July 1989. Golden Cup was a brand of swimwear created by the lingerie company Triumph International. The European Golden Cup triathlon circuit started in 1988, taking over from where the Le Coq Sportif series left off. The Le Coq had 16 rounds in 1986 and 8 in 1987. There was loads of great racing, involving athletes like Sarah Springman, Rob Burrell, Sarah Coupe, Yogi Hoffman, Carol Blondell, Erin Baker, Glenn Cook and Lieve Paulus. In 1989, the European Golden Cup circuit had 4 rounds. Munich was the 4th and took place 2 weeks before the first ITU World Short Course Championships that were held in Avignon, France. So it really was the final tune-up opportunity for athletes heading there. Earlier rounds had taken place in Giel in Belgium, Nuenen in the Netherlands, and Zell am See in Austria. Of note in Munich was the fact that some members of the Australian team for Avignon were taking part. They were on a 3-race European preparation tour. They'd already raced in Mâcon in France on the 9th of July, where Louise Bonham got second in the women's race, and Greg Welch and Brad Bevan finished first and third in the men's event. The week after, they raced in Couperon, also in France. Welch won again, with Nick Croft in 5th and Spot Anderson in 9th. And Simon Lessing finished third in what must have been one of his very first races for Salon Triathlon, at 18 years old. Another 18-year-old, Miles Stewart, eventually Australia's first finisher in Avignon, in 4th place, wasn't in France or Munich with the team. He was training and racing in the USA. He did USTS Chicago on the 9th of July, where he finished 10th. USTS New England the following weekend, which he won, and then USTS Houston on the 23rd of July, which I don't have a result for. The podiums in Munich in 1989 were as follows. For the women, first Louise Bonham, second Taya Sibsma, and third Mandy Dean. For the men, first Rob Burrell, second Greg Welch, and third Mark Cox. The race started at 2 o'clock and the conditions were hot and humid, and the water was 18 degrees centigrade. The Olympic distance race consisted of a U-shaped swim, an 8-lap bike ride around the rowing lake, and a 2-lap run, again around the lake. Mandy Dean came out of the water 2 minutes ahead of Sibsma and 3 minutes ahead of Bonham. She wasn't caught on the bike either, but a miscounting of laps meant that she had to do a U-turn. This allowed Bonham and Sibsma to catch her in transition. Louise Bonham then proved to be the quicker runner of the 3. In the men's race, Nick Croft and Brad Bevan led the swim, with Rob Burrell and Spot Anderson coming out about 20 seconds later. Phil Gable, Jürgen Zach and Greg Welch were about a minute behind. By the 7th lap on the bike, Bevan and Croft had been joined by Burrell, Zach, Henning Wackerhager and Welch. Then onto the run, Welch and Burrell got away from the others, while Mark Cox and Pim van den Bos were running fast and making up ground. The finish would be a sprint, and although Welch went first with 200 metres to go, Burrell came round him in the last 50. So, how did the protagonists for Munich do in Avignon? Rob Burrell finished 5th, with Brad Bevan just behind in 6th. Spot Anderson also had a strong race in 9th. Then Pim van den Bos in 15th, Jürgen Zach 19th, Nick Croft 21st, Mark Cox 28th, and Greg Welch 38th. Not a great day for him. The women who competed in Munich were pretty close together in Avignon. Louise Bonham, shown here, finished 10th, Taya Sibsma 11th, and Mandy Dean 19th. Until 1992, I think, there was also a team competition at the World Championships, based on cross-country points, with the first 3 athletes from each country to score. In 1989, the Australian men finished second behind the USA, and the women were 6th. The information in this video about the Munich race came from a race report written by Ian Sweet and published in the September 1989 issue of 220 magazine. The images from Coucaron were by Max Malleron from the September 1989 issue of French Triathlete. The footage from Avignon was from the live Canal Plus coverage. I'll link to it under this video. Now, enjoy the rest of the lap.